School Board Vice Chair, filling in for Chair Rye this evening due to health reasons. Also, please note Dr. Robertson is here on behalf of Dr. Spence this afternoon. In accordance with the schedule of school board meetings amended and approved by the school board at their January 25th, 2021 regular meeting, and pursuant to bylaw 1-46 and Virginia Code 2.2-3707, I hereby call this special meeting to order at 5:00 p.m. on this 15th day of February 2022 in the school board chambers in the School Administration Building number 6 at the Municipal Center, 2512 George Mason Drive, Virginia Beach, Virginia 23456. The purpose of this special meeting is for one, fiscal year 2022-23 school board proposed operating budget and fiscal year 22-23 through 27-28 capital improvement program, discussion by school board and school administration. And two, a public hearing for citizens to express their views on the proposed school operating budget fiscal year 22-23 and capital improvement program for fiscal year 22-23 through fiscal year 27-28. Please note that the public hearing portion of this special meeting will begin at approximately 6:00 p.m. The school board and the school administration may continue discussions after the public hearing has concluded. Also, pursuant to the school board's 2021-22 reopening plan, adopted August 10th, 2021, and the school board vote on August 24th, 2021 regarding health protocols for school board meeting, it is determined that physical distancing will be used in school board chambers as a health mitigation strategy. Therefore, there will be designated public seating in school board chambers during the school board meeting. Members of the public will also be able to observe the special school board meeting through live streaming on www.vbschools.com, broadcast on VBTV, channel 47, and on Zoom. At this time, Madam Clerk, would you please take the verbal roll?
Thank you, Vice Chair Melnick. Present in school board chambers is Vice Chair Melnick, Ms. Anderson, Ms. Felton, Ms. Franklin, Ms. Holtz, Ms. Manning, Ms. Riggs, and Ms. Weems. And attending via Zoom is Ms. Hughes and Ms. Owens.
Excellent. Okay, I thank you. Mrs. Rye is out for health reasons. She is not via Zoom, but she is viewing via live stream.
Mrs. Melnick, it's necessary for the individuals who are participating remotely to state the reason they're participating remotely.
Okay. And Mrs. Hughes?
I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was still muted. I'm at home, I'm not feeling well.
Okay, all right. And Mrs. Owens?
I'm also at home, I'm having a dental issue.
Okay, and I thank you. Thank you all for zooming in. Okay, at this time, I will I'm sorry. Let me ask you to please join me in a moment of silence. And please stand as you are able for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, and at this time, I will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda. Motion made by Mrs. Manning, second by Mrs. Franklin. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye or raise your hand.
Ms. Hughes, how do you vote? Ms. Hughes, how do you vote for the adoption of the agenda?
I'm sorry, I vote yes.
Thank you. Ms. Owens, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Thank you. Vice Chair Melnick, we have 10 ayes. The motion did pass.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we'll move on to number 4 on our agenda, which is school board budget workshop for fiscal year 22-23, proposed operating budget and capital improvement program for fiscal year 22-23 through 27-28. At this time, I open the floor for any questions or discussions. Okay, and just a call to our Zoom participants, making sure, feel free to jump in right now since no one here in the room has their hand raised.
I don't have any questions at this point.
Okay, all right. Mrs. Weems,
So are we not going to have any sort of presentation? We'll just.
there are no presentations tonight. However, everyone is here tonight to answer questions or to reiterate anything that's been brought forward prior to this. I have one question, but I will yield to my colleagues unless there are none. All right, Mrs. Manning?
Yeah, I have a couple questions on the CIP. I'm not sure, Mr. Freeman or who's here for CIP. Okay. So under the current projects revised, just a couple questions on those. We have $28.1 million allocated for citywide renovation and replacement for energy management and sustainability. But then we also have energy performance contracts separately. So I'm just trying to grasp what the 28.1 will encompass. What schools is that planned for? What items? Can we get some more detail?
Hey, Ms. Manning, so this is Jack Freeman. I'm online with you today. So that's there's a lot of detail that's associated with the question that you just asked, and we're happy to provide that. We may need to do a follow-up. I will, just based on the depth to that question. We do have Don Ballman in the room with us today. As everybody, just as a reminder, everybody, Tony Arnold has retired, and we're in the hiring process for the new executive director for facilities. But Don Ballman is our staff architect, and he's able to potentially answer that at a relatively high level. But it's a pretty complex question. We can get you some more detail following this one. So with that, Don, do you have anything at a high level to be able to share today before a more detailed follow-up later?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Vice Chair Melnick, school board members, Dr. Robertson. So yes, they are different. So renovation and replacements, energy management, sustainability, it can encompass a variety of different projects. Window replacements, anything that saves energy in the building, whereas the performance contract is a different kind of mechanism where it's handled a little bit differently. So their energy management companies, Noresco, they're called ESCOs. So we contract with them. They guarantee the results of the work. So that's a little bit different, whereas the others are design, bid, build to just make our buildings a little more energy efficient.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. I guess I'm just wondering, if I could get a little bit more detail, and I'm not asking for it right now, if I could get a little
Okay.
bit more detail how the the 2 million it's not 2 million, 28 million is gonna be allocated. Kind of what's the prioritization of those projects? I assume you have a list that you could provide.
Certainly,
Okay.
we can give you that as a follow-up.
Okay, and then my next question is, I noticed on the tennis court renovations, I have a few pages marked off here. There's one where the city is gonna be benefiting from the projects on some tennis courts, I think it is. but it doesn't show that the city is providing any funding for it. But then there's a project where we're replacing outdated playground equipment and the city is gonna be contributing 50/50. So I guess I was wondering why that other project was not, why the city was not gonna be providing some funding for that one.
Historically, we have had an arrangement where we share those costs. Off the
It's
top
the
of my
tennis
head,
court renovations, I'm
Correct.
sorry, I found it,
Yeah.
okay.
The playgrounds, I think we've always cost participated. The tennis courts we have in the past, and I'm not sure why that's different in this particular CIP, but we can get back to you with some answers on that.
Okay, great, thank you. That's all my questions for now.
Colleagues? And Mr. Freeman, if you could reply to the entire board, to Mrs. Manning's questions, that would be great. Or any questions that any board member sends in. If you forget to include the whole group, if staff could please respond to the whole group, that would be great.
Yes, ma'am, will do.
Anybody else? Okay, Mrs. Weems?
Yes, I guess, Dr. Robertson, this is for you. On page, from just the regular estimate of needs notebook, pages 35 and 36, about the expenditures per pupil. So, okay, so on the bottom of 35, it shows, the local, state, and federal. So does that mean, the way I'm reading this is in 22-23, it's going to be 16,700?
That's correct.
Okay. And that's with all the funding sources?
That's correct.
Okay. And then on the next page, 21, wait. Okay, so the next page is, what are the bars? It's what we did spend, or what we had budgeted, just us?
Are we looking at
City
the,
Beach?
the
The top
graph
bars,
that-
36, yeah.
So, Crystal, do you want to, because that seems to be the
I'm
expenditures.
just, yeah, because some of the numbers don't match up to the previous page and our part, so I was just kind of wondering. Can you just?
So the blue bars are what VBCPS have, and their estimated expenditures for 18-19 are the ones that are in asterisks. So there's like a little bit of a 2-year lag on that. So you see where the 2020-21 is asterisk and it says estimated expenditures for 18-19, and then all other figures represent actual. So there's a 2-year lag on that particular, from getting the data and actually being able to present it like that. And then it's just comparing it to what the state and national averages are. And that comes from the annual comprehensive financial report that we present. And the state and national averages are usually in the superintendent's annual comprehensive financial report.
Okay, so how did they go from 13,000 to 16,000 from 2021 to 22-23? No, why such a, how? Is
Okay,
there
so
such a
one of
big
them is
bump?
budgeted and one of them is based on expenditure. So it's a different number that you're using when we budget versus when we do actuals. Because you know actuals are never gonna come out to what the budgeted numbers are.
Okay. So it.
I'm trying to look at Charity.
So do you think it will be that high? I was just like, when I saw that, I'm like, how did we get to $16,000 a student?
It could be, I mean, and you have to think about what's coming in and what's being spent and how much, our enrollment goes down. And then our cost is going up. And so it can, I mean, it's just the nature of the mathematical computation.
Okay.
And Ms. Williams, if I could just point out, it seems on page 35, the 2020-2021 budget expenditure amount was 13,204. And then on top of page 36, the 2020-21 average per pupil expenditures was $14,069. But so it doesn't project out as far
Right.
as it did on the previous page.
Yeah, right. Okay. Okay, like, I just kind of wondered that, because that just stuck out to me, last week when I saw that huge number per student. So I've got a suggestion of how I want to spend some money, Vice Chair.
Okay, that sounds good.
So is this the time to do that?
Absolutely.
But I don't know how much. That's the
Well,
only
that's
problem.
okay.
I
I
don't know.
think-
I don't have all the details.
I think your input is, I mean, it's going to be duly noted.
Absolutely.
Mrs. Pate just got a pen and we're ready.
Staff here to take notes.
Well, I just wanted my colleagues to be aware of this, and Dr. Spence and I have talked about this for going on 2.5 years. So I would like some money to be budgeted in the budget for a recovery school here in Virginia Beach. And I just got a whole bunch of information today, which I haven't been able to read over. But I guess I just wanted my colleagues to be aware that this is something that I've been working on as far as students with substance abuse, misuse, or addiction. The numbers have just skyrocketed all over the country. And COVID obviously didn't cause this, but it actually made it a lot worse because the isolation and the lack of access. The numbers of the group that's affected in the teenage years has gotten astronomically high. In the Tidewater area, our numbers of deaths caused by overdoses have doubled since COVID. Interestingly enough, and sadly enough, I got an email just this morning from a mom who has a daughter in one of our high schools. The principal told her to give me a call, and her daughter died of an overdose 3 weeks ago, and she was begging me to get some awareness out in our high schools. This girl was 16 years old. So, anyway, sorry.
Don't be sorry.
There are about 54 recovery high schools in the country. We've been kind of looking at one as a prototype up in Boston that's been around for over 20 years. So basically, we would be having the same educational opportunities for our students, but we would be adding an addiction specialist and a family counseling proponent to this program. I just want you to be aware of it, that Dr. Spence has agreed that he thinks it's a great idea. We've had the conversation with Bobby Jameson, and so I'm going to come back with some numbers next week, but it is something that is on my radar for obvious reasons, and it's a very important need. Legislatively, 2 years ago, they passed legislation to start a charter school in the western part of the state, but we know with things under the legislation, sometimes they take a really long time. And, with some conversations that I've had with folks here, we think that we can do this, and I know that we can afford it. We can do this just under the umbrella of Virginia Beach Public Schools, and we can do it, in my opinion, better and quicker than if we rely on a more of a regional school prototype. So I will be reaching out to y'all this week with some numbers, but I just wanted that to get out there that I will be requesting a certain amount of money for this program, and I hope that we can all support it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for being innovative in your thought and for bringing this up this evening. Mrs. Anderson and then Mrs. Manning.
On this recovery school, I'm not going to say I'm against it because it sounds like a good idea, but where would you take money from to add to the school? Have you gotten that far yet?
No, but I'll have that. And again, we're not talking about huge amounts of money. When we're talking about over $1 billion budget, we're basically talking about a few new positions, an addictions, specialist,
So it would
a
be
program
someplace
director.
within a school? Is that kind
Yeah.
of what you're saying?
Yeah, it'll be within a school. So
Okay.
so you don't have to. It's really not huge amounts of money that we're talking about.
Something to think about then.
Yeah.
Okay, Mrs. Manning.
Yeah, so just to piggyback off a couple of things that Ms. Weems said regarding the per pupil spending, just to, for the public to know, those who may not have been involved in budget discussions before, we get our funding through certain funding streams, a funding formula that's allocated to us as a school board through our locality, through our local tax revenue. that's just dedicated to schools. And then we also get state funding through average daily membership and other revenue streams through the state that are designated to us, and then, of course, through the federal dollars, mostly in grants. So it's our job to make sure that that money that's given to us is wisely spent, and that we prioritize that spending to benefit our students. And I think what Ms. Weems just brought up is a top priority. I think we've all seen examples of how a school like that can help. We had a situation on one of our discipline committees just recently where this could have benefited a student. And so I would like to ask the board to make this a priority. I see areas where we could prioritize this above some other things, perhaps in the CIP or other mechanisms, but I really support that idea and I'd really like to see that happen this year. And then I have, since nobody else had any questions, I'll kind of start through. I had started taking some notes when this was presented, and so I have some questions. Page 23, additional charges for risk management services of $2.1 million. Can you explain why our risk management costs have gone up?
Sure. So our risk management fund, it takes care of all of our insurances and things like that. So we have seen an increase in the premiums for those insurance policies. We've also had some pretty high claims with like the old Kellam High School and things like that. And so we're eating into our fund balance. And we're required to keep a couple of months of operating expenditures in that particular fund. And also our IBNRs, which are called incurred but not reported claims. We've been seeing an increase in those as we book those at year end. And so we're just trying to make sure that that fund balance stays healthy in that and to take care of
Okay,
those
so
expenditures.
incurred but not reported?
Yeah, so at the end of the year, there's claims that are still outstanding. And so we have an actuarial that'll go through workers' comp, automobile insurance, those various types of insurances, and they will calculate what our claims are that have been incurred but not reported yet, and we'll actually reverse what we booked in the previous year and reaccrue what we need to book for the current year.
Okay. And then on that same page, reduction to non-personnel line items, $2.4 million that just wanted to get a little bit more specific.
Yeah, so I
on
think
what
like,
that
and
is.
when I did the CON presentation, those, we did targeted reductions, so we didn't take like a percentage across all non-personnel line items. We were able to go back and look at historical trends and expenditure patterns and try to look and see where some money might have been non-expended, and we were able to look at those and do some targeted reductions.
Okay.
So I can't say that it's across the table on any of that.
So that's kind of money saved across a variety of line items.
ma'am.
Okay, great. And then, can you explain to me on page 27, rebenchmarking hold harmless, $9.2 million in this year's Theon, what that revenue is?
So when the, this is the biennium, so when the state goes in and does the new biennium, they do re-benchmarking. So there are a lot of components that go into the re-benchmarking, and in a normal biennium without COVID, they would have been able to pull certain data that kind of goes into that calculation to kind of see where, with how they re-benchmark what school districts will get. Because some of those components are impacted by COVID, they couldn't rely on that data, so they had to go back and use older data for some of those components. And so that school districts didn't lose any money, they hold harmless during that re-benchmarking process. It's a little unusual for this time.
Yeah, I had never seen that one before. Okay. And then I just want to highlight our Stop Arm Enforcement Program that's still making some good money and hopefully protecting our children as well. And thanks to Ms. Weems for making that happen several years ago. I think that's all I have right now. I'll give somebody else an opportunity.
Okay, since you're standing there, Mrs. Pate, I had a question. Would you mind going over the healthcare premium again? That's a big item for us as board members and for our employees, and so
Sure.
can you let us know where we are with that again?
Sure. So, right now, as we took a look at this budget and because of our recruitment and retention issues that we have, it was important to Dr. Spence to make sure that we did what we could for our employees and far as benefits go. We worked with our third-party consultant and looked to see what it would take initially to put a big investment in there to help the employee premiums be decreased. So we put in about an $8.5 million investment into that right now. We are looking to see employee premiums for active and retirees to decrease within the range of 40 to 50%. We have to wait until we get that work done in order, because it'll spread across the tiers that are within our health insurance plan. I will say with that investment, there are no plan design changes. So these are just things that we can do as an entity without the city being part of that, but there will be some work done to try to do plan design changes to kind of help do better in that regard with our health, especially our high deductible plan. So that really is just an investment that we're trying to make that a priority.
Okay, that sounds great. Anybody else right now? As I noted in my opening remarks, if you all, something is sparked by one of our speakers or something comes to mind, we are able to revisit this question and discussion time after our speakers. And as much as I would love to go right into our public meeting, the call was at 6 o'clock. And I also noticed that a few of our speakers are not here. So at this point, not seeing anything else, I will adjourn the meeting for right now, and we will resume at 6 o'clock.